Welcome to the Blue Collar Gold Podcast, the podcast that shows you how to build a world-class service business from the dirt up. And now, your host, Mark Stoner.
Hello and welcome to the Blue Collar Gold Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Stoner, and I am attempting new things today. I'm on a program called StreamYard, and I am going to record this live while I do a bunch of other stuff on the low budget type of production. And I kind of enjoy that because it makes it super easy. I don't have to go to a studio. I don't have to ask other people to help me. It's just me, and I can do this when I have time to do it. So I like doing it every week. So thank you for joining me. This week, I want to talk about a lot of exciting things that are happening, but the first thing I want to talk about is the Sweep Away Cancer Rally that's coming up. We've done this. I think this will be our fourth one. And Sweep Away Cancer, in case you don't know, is a nonprofit that's started by me and a couple of other guys that Tommy Nelms and Darren Bebo and Chuck Roydhouse. And we wanted to start something to give back to cancer survivors. At first, it was called Sweep Away Breast Cancer. Then we just switched it to Sweep Away Cancer. Well, a couple of years ago, we decided to have a rally, which we go to the Smokies. At this point, we're going to move it around, but we go to the Smokies. You bring your motorcycle, you bring your sports car, you bring your work van, you bring your family van, you bring anything. And we ride the tail of the dragon. We ride some other super scenic roads. And we have a barbecue on Friday night when everybody gets there. Saturday morning, we have a dedication to the ride. And we dedicate, the ride to someone or a group of people. And we go have a great time. So it's going to be on May 28th, 29th, first couple of days of the Memorial Day weekend. There will be a lot of details coming. So let me put this up. So go to sweepawaycancer.com. And there will be, just subscribe, and there will be more details coming. We just signed the paperwork for the event, and we're super excited to have it. Just so you know about Sweep Away Cancer, 96% of all the money that is raised goes to families that have cancer survivors, have bills. They get the money. They go to sweepawaycancer.com. They apply. We've never turned anybody down as long as we have money to give them. We give it all away. And it's really a great cause, run very efficiently by volunteers, and we just try to help as much as we can. So in case you can't join us at the rally, please go to sweepawaycancer.com and donate, make a weekly donation, monthly donation, one-time donation. Help us help families that are in need, that have to go through this terrible thing of cancer that touches everyone at some point. So that's my public service announcement. Sweep Away Cancer Rally, May 28th and 29th. Please make plans to join us if at all possible. I wanted to talk about a couple things. I was watching a Facebook, thread where a guy was talking about risking everything he had on the purchase of a building. And I know that feeling because I'm about to take a risk. But a couple things, when you're going to ask Facebook for opinions, that can be a pretty dangerous place to ask for opinions, especially when we don't know even if you're trying to help, you don't know all the details you need to know before giving advice that could be absolutely detrimental to the person. So, he was saying, hey, I've been saving money my whole life, and now I've got a chance to buy a building. And I was thinking about retiring in a few years from the chimney business, and that money was going to be for retirement, or I can take it and plunk it down on a building and really go all in on, my future, my kids' future with some real estate tied into it. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, go for it, and they were saying a lot of positive things, which I'm all for going for it. But, I had to ask a few questions. I'll just kind of go through my thought process. One, what happens if you get hurt? Will the business continue to make money? If something happens to you, you get sick, hurt, can't work. Are you putting everything at risk if you go down? Because I've fallen, I've gotten hurt, my family has. I know the risk of somebody going down and the business collapsing. So I would not risk it all if you are the business and something happens and you can't make that big payment of that building. Number two, can you cash flow fine without it? You already have a rent payment, and is this going to be close to the rent payment that you have? And so it's not that big a risk. Or are you working out of your house? Now you got this big payment. And if now you got a big payment, what are you going to do different in the business to make that payment, now versus, are you going to scale up? You're going to get more trucks? Like, where's the money going to come from? And, lastly, I was saying, is this out of operating capital? Like, are you risking, your safety net that you use to operate the business? Or is this a whole nother fund that has nothing to do with running the business? It was just a side fund. And are you putting that up, or are you putting operating capital up to get this? Are you going to be broke when you put it all out there, which you should not do? So lastly, I said, talk to a financial advisor. Don't talk to Facebook people. Don't ask us what to do, and get some real advice as to if this is, because you have no idea how much he's risking. Is it a little or is it a lot? That being said, I've talked about it on the show. I risk all the time, and I'm getting ready to do it again. I'm getting ready to buy a building and a business that I've talked about, and it looks like it's finally going to happen. We've been back and forth on negotiations for a couple months. I came in, I got an evaluation, and I came in pretty low compared to what they wanted. And then he came in higher, and we've negotiated back and forth. And I think it's going to be a good fit for everyone. Everybody can be happy with the outcome. And it puts me in a whole different business. It will apply to the business I'm in now, but it also is a completely different business that runs a whole different customer base and customer, everything is different. So that's exciting for me to open that up. And there's a lot of pluses to do this. And of course, there's a risk to it. And I talked about this before, though, but, the Small Business Administration is having basically a really great deal. If you're looking to buy a business, buy land, buy something, and you might go through the SBA, they're making it better for your local banks, and they're paying like the first 6 months of the payment. And I think they opened it, I think February 1st, and I think it closes sometime in the fall. Don't hold me to that. But if you're ever thinking about doing it, now's a great time. Well, I was working with them to buy this one business, but while I'm at it, the back part of this business has place for me to build a bigger facility for my chimney company. And so now I'm going to put more chips on the table. I was going to do that in a few years, but actually it's a really good time to do it now for us. And so it's nerve-wracking for me. I'm going to be honest with you, but every time I have made a move, I've never made a move with this much confidence, but it's still scary because it's the biggest move I've ever made. And I have a lot of advice. I've talked to a lot of financial advisors. I have financial people in my business that look at everything, and it's all a go. And the bank's like, hey, this is a good deal. You look, everything looks good. So it helps me feel better about it, but it's still, it's still putting it out there on the table. But I'm an entrepreneur. I like doing that kind of stuff. I'm totally excited about it. I'm excited about what could happen. And, so I'll be excited when this deal closes and make sure it does. And I'll let you know about it. This week, I wanted to talk about a book that I was recommended just 2 days ago. It's called Who, Not How by my friend Tiffany Largy. And she said, this book, man, when I opened it, I was like, wow, this book is amazing. You got to read this book. You got to check it out. So sure enough, I downloaded it yesterday, started listening to it this morning on my way to the gym. And just in 45 minutes, it really was blowing me away. And I love when books do that. I absolutely love when you just get taken back, or something just comes through these books. It just speaks to you, because I read and listen to a lot of books, and a lot of times it doesn't happen. I'm trying to find the good out of a book, but sometimes it just comes rushing at you. And that's the super exciting part about, listening to a book or reading a book. In this case, I'm only an hour into it out of about 6 hour books. So I'm excited about learning more and bringing it to you. I feel like I'm kind of doing a book report for people listening or people watching. So if you are listening, I am broadcasting this, and it'll be on my YouTube, on my page, Mark Stoner, on YouTube. And I'm going to start putting these on there if you'd rather watch the video versus listening to it. So on this book is written, well, the concept was Dan Sullivan, who's a pretty famous motivational kind of guy. The guy that actually wrote it was Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And he took the idea that Dan Sullivan had and made it into a book with Dan's permission. And the funny thing about Dan was he knew, again, on the who, not how, he knew somebody else needed to write this book from a different perspective. And that's kind of what the book is about somebody else doing the work. But in this case, he already knew somebody. He needed to get a big time writer to do it. And so when Dr. Hardy saw him speak and came to him and said, hey, I want to write this book, Dan's like, of course, I knew you were coming. I knew this was going to happen because that's exactly what I wanted to happen. And so I'm going to talk about some of the concepts that I just watched and listened to and kind of my take on them. So the first one was, and this one was big. This is one of the biggest problems I see in people when I come through my blue collar gold university, is they don't have a fundamental belief in other people's ability. Again, you must have a fundamental belief in other people's ability. So in this book where you're going to who, not how, you have to be okay with the who. You have to give the who a chance. Because if you're always thinking about the how, then that's putting more pressure back on you. You have to, when you hear more and more things that need to be done, you think, man, I'm already busy. I'm already full of work, and I don't want another thing to do. And so that's where the how can bury you. And that's not what this book is about. It's about getting more people. So for me, I've always had a fundamental belief in other people's ability. I believe if I can do it, you can do it. I believe, okay, I might be better than you, but I believe you can learn quick and you're going to be good. And I'm not going to get all beat down if you mess up. I'm not, some people just don't trust other people. They don't trust them at all. They have a natural disbelief in people. They don't think they lie to them, cheat, do bad work, steal from them. And just overall just not be as good as them. So they then therefore can't release any of the responsibilities for the business. For me, I'm ready to give up that quickly. I mean, as soon as you prove to me that you're trying and you're giving, I'm going to give you a chance to do it. I fundamentally believe in other people that they can do the work. Of course, I've been burned. Of course, they've not done a great job. Of course, they've made super stupid mistakes. Of course. But overall, that's how I've built the businesses, because I believe in them. And so, when I was stuck at a certain size in my business, I'd run out of space and I'd run out of the ability to grow it. I had to look for the who that could do it, because I couldn't do it. If I tried to build it over here, I would drop a ball over there, and it was getting worse, not better, when I was trying to always grow it myself. Because, people say, you can do it, you've got all, but I really didn't. I didn't have all of this stuff. And so when I was stuck, my friend Hope Stevenson said, you really need a president. My friend John Meredith also told me I needed to get help. One, listen to your mentors, but two, they were right. So we started a search, and I've talked about it before, where I brought in a bunch of people, and I had to pay quite a bit of money for a person. They ultimately never cost me any money because they grew the company so much. But in my thinking at the time, I was like, this is an expensive guy. I'm just now starting to make good money. Now I got to take money out of what I'm making to get him paid. It didn't work that way at all. But he grew it took me 30 some years to get to a certain size of business, which was sizable, but it only took him 3 more years to double that. And then it looks like we're probably going to double again in about 3 or 4 more years, the way, we're tracking. Well, I couldn't have done it. I had to get the right who. This person had managed bigger businesses, could look at my business, and Kent Wesley's who I'm talking about, and he could throw all those levers forward and tell you what to go, and boom, and we are absolutely going and on fire. And then we had to get a cost control person in because we were spending a lot of money and we had to make sure we were profitable at every step. And so now I have a chief financial officer who's full time with us. I had him part time. And now he's making sure every job is profitable. Every job that we have has a certain level of profitability that we've deemed right. And he watches that and sets up systems to make sure we're more profitable. My point is, you have to have people to do this for you. You can't do it all yourself, and you shouldn't do it all yourself. So again, I do have a fundamental belief in other people's ability, and I think that's helped me. If you want to grow your business, you're going to have this belief as well. The next step is there are so many hows that you don't have the ability to know about or have the time to get done. When you start to grow a business, you'll realize there's a lot you don't know. And as you grow it, every little hole you've got in your game gets bigger. Like every crack in your game becomes very big. Like, oh my gosh, that little training issue that I had is now a big problem. That little cash flow problem I had at this size is now a big problem when I've got to $1 million or $2 million. And so you don't have time to learn everything. You've got to bring the people around you that can build the website, that can do the social media, that can do the finances, that can write the checks, that can do the work, that can hire the people, that can fix the vehicles. Like, me changing the oil in my vans would be such a waste of time. Me learning how to do brake jobs, even if I wanted to do it, me learning how to do a different brick face on a fireplace or something is a complete waste of time and a detriment to my team. If I'm out there doing that work, I am crippling my team. I'm not doing what I need to do for them. And they don't expect me to, and I shouldn't do it. It's irresponsible of me to do that. So be careful what you're spending your time on so that you are responsible to your team. The next part was, your ability to forecast your future affects your happiness today. I had a little typo on that if you're watching on the video, but what they're talking about is, if you have the ability to look at, if you can't look forward and get excited about your growth, and it actually affects your happiness today. If you can't see a better future for you and your company, a bigger future, a growth thing, a lot of times it's hope, right? It's you don't have hope. You don't have an outlook on the future, and that will guide all of your decisions today, right? For me, I'm not really afraid of growing, so I have a very excited future. I'm just excited for what's coming. I've still got a lot of energy. I'm still healthy. We still live in America. We still have all kinds of ability to do things, and that excites me. So therefore, I think, again, back to my rainbows and unicorns, I believe that outlook makes things come to me, makes opportunities come through the door. When you put out that positive vibe, the vibe comes back. Well, the vibe comes from a feeling that better things are going to happen over and over. I just feel that way. And life is a mirror, and it's a reflection of who you are and what you are. So when I'm excited comes back. When I talk to somebody about a future, they're like, yeah, well, and then this, they build on it. They say, yes, that's a possibility. And it's just like this business I'm buying. My team knew I was looking to possibly do something. So therefore, the opportunity showed up in a very weird way. One of my people said something to the right person. He said, I would sell this business. And it wasn't even on the market. But because I'm putting these things out there, now it doesn't come back like, okay, because I put this out, it's going to come back. You don't know that, but it's a general vibe and a general energy that you put out that will come back. So, Your ability to forecast your future affects your happiness today. Man, I love that. I thought that was such a big, broad idea. And then this one, which was assume positive intent. I thought this is actually from another book that I'm finishing reading, but whatever anybody says or does, assume positive intent. You will be amazed at how your whole approach to a person or a problem becomes very different. When you assume negative intent, you're angry. If you take away that anger and assume positive intent, you'll be amazed at the feeling you get from anything. I've worked with people that assume a negative intent a lot. They think that the people are out to get them. They think people are bad. And so because they assume negative, and when something bad happens, they assume that it was done to them. Not that it just happened, but literally that person tried to hurt them, tried to affect them, tried to take their money, tried to make them look bad. Whatever the reason is, they assume negative intent. That is a killer. If you do it, stop doing it. When you look at somebody, try to assume the best. Now, sometimes they're lying to you. Sometimes they're absolutely filling you full of crap. But I do believe them. I do believe positive intent first. Now, sometimes it becomes very evident that negative intent was the case and I was being told wrong. But again, I think the happiness that I have in general is due to assuming a positive intent. When you assume positive intent, you're going to assume a positive outcome. When you assume a positive outcome, you're more likely to have a positive outcome. Not always, but it's kind of like a shield that protects you from the negative. And when negative does happen, it doesn't keep you down long. I believe in dwelling on the good things that happen during the day, not the negative. And today was a rough day for me. I mean, we had so many things going on. The morning was it felt like arrows this morning. Our phone systems were down. Our computers were down. Comcast was terrible. They set up a new system in our office and it just completely has ruined everything. Today was a total loss and very frustrating and very costly. And now I've got to set up a secondary backup internet service. Now I got to buy 2 internet services from 2 different providers in case one has an outage. The other one keeps us going. I mean, we're to that level that now I have to have 2 internet services. Very frustrating day. And but also I got to work with a contractor, came in for a blue collar university kind of event that we're having, and we're going to have several people at my shop tomorrow. Some landscapers, some contractors, accounting business, and we are going to work with them on growth and scaling and all that. And that's super exciting. I love doing it. It's very fun. I learn a lot. They learn a lot. We have a great couple-day event, and that's going to happen tomorrow. So we got to work with one of the guys today, small contractor, but has an amazing idea that I won't talk about, but his idea to scale in an area is just one of the biggest ideas I've ever heard. Now, he's scared to do it. He doesn't have all the tools to do it, but man, his idea is gigantic. And I said, man, that's one of the biggest ideas I've heard with a huge upside to it. He's just got to figure out how to deliver this message and get it to the right people that turns it into a big thing for him. And it's got a really cool social aspect on it. It's got a really cool business side for him. And I love doing that kind of work. So today may have been a negative day in some ways, but it's also a positive day, and that gets really exciting. So funny. There's this little bitty mouse that's in this room, and my cat brought it in, and he's just running. My cat's just trying to get it earlier, and he just ran out the door, which it might freak somebody out listening to this, but we have cats, and man, they hunt, and there's times that they bring animals in here that aren't dead, and this guy is clearly alive. But anyway, all right, guys, that is most of my time. Let me make sure I've covered all my topics. I believe I have. if you aren't reading a book a week or have something that you are focusing on to get better, please do it. I've mentioned books all the time. It's my number one way to get better. Every day, just my routine. I get up at about 4:10 a.m. At 4:30, I'm on the road to the gym. I'm listening to a book 20 minutes on the way there. I do my workout for 1 hour. And I've talked about it. I do 20 minutes back. I listen to a book. I take a shower. I get ready for the day. I got 20 minutes into work. I listen to that book. I got 20 minutes coming back. I listen to that book. So every day I can get 70 minutes of listening to a book, and it helps me. It changes me every day, every week. I can't always listen to books. Sometimes I need to listen to music. Sometimes I listen to a podcast or something else. But I'm constantly when I was talking to a person today about a book, they wrote it down. And I'm like, if you told me about a book, I'm immediately jumping on my Audible app and I'm downloading it immediately. Like before you're done talking about it. If you said it's a good book, I'm downloading it. And my son told me a book this week, told me 2 books, somebody else told me a book. So this week alone, I've put 5 books in my library to listen to. And I listened to one, and now I'm listening to another one, and I've got a list of things to go through. And then I try to use Audible, and I clip when I'm hearing something. If you have Audible, there's a clip feature. It looks like a little tag. You clip it and then you label what you're clipping, like what the topic is. So then you can go back and look at all your bookmarks and clips in the Audible and listen to them again. And that's what I did today for this podcast. I clipped some areas, I re-listened to them, I made notes for the podcast, and then I talk about them. But that's how I listen to books always. I wish I could write stuff down, and I've tried to do it on my motorcycle, which sounds terrible, but I speak into my notes application with a Bluetooth headset. When I'm listening, I'm like, oh, that's good. And I cue up the voice recognition and say whatever it is I heard or I thought about while I'm driving. That's, for me, some of the best times to really open your brain and almost meditate. So, guys, that's my time. Please go to sweetboycancer.com. Donate if you can. Come join us on the rally. We're going to have a great time for a great cause. And I appreciate you listening this week. That's my time. We'll talk to you soon.